You know, when you meditate, you're supposed to focus on your own breathing. I'm just not sure if you're supposed to focus on when to breathe, or if you're supposed to focus on the breath going in and out of your body. Or is it both? Meditation never worked for me. I don't know if it's because I'm doing it wrong, or if it's because I'm a fuck up. I guess those are just one and the same in this instance. Maybe calling myself a fuck up for the inability to sit in one spot and relax for a scheduled amount of time is a bit harsh. See, focusing is difficult. 1 minute you're fully engaged with what's happening, and the next minute, 5 minutes have passed, and you have no idea what just happened. Where do I go when I'm not focused? Do I just ascend beyond this meat wagon of a body and ride the rails of the cosmos for a while? If I'm not focused, it's usually not because I'm thinking of something else. My brain kind of just skips ahead in the scene, even though I didn't tell it to do that. And it's not like I can rewind, is it? I'm stuck there, forced to admit that I wasn't paying attention to what you just said. But that's embarrassing, isn't it? So many times I get called out for not paying attention or not listening. It's not my fault, I think. Is it my fault? I mean, clearly it is. I'm the one that stopped listening. But more often than not, it just feels like I drift away from myself and the world around me. By the time I've started to come to reality, grounding myself back into the urgency of the now, it's frankly been way too fucking long. So I smile and pretend like I know what just happened. I guess that's just a douchey thing to do, but if I spent every day asking people to reiterate what they'd said to me every time I'd lost focus, even I'd be getting annoyed. When I was a child, I got diagnosed with ADHD. They told me I was a hyper little child and that it'd wear off when I got older. Then, of course, they granted me access to the almighty fix-it drug of Ritalin. I got a fun little keynote alongside it from my doctor declaring that the drug wouldn't just work for me, I had to focus to make it work. When I told my new adult doctor this news a few months ago, she gave me that knowing stare. The one that says that she knew my parents were getting scammed, but she didn't have the heart to say it. I think she said something along the lines of, "Oh, I've never heard of that effect for a drug before, just willing it to work." Then again, I guess I wasn't paying attention. Where did I go? There I was at a crucial moment, realizing that I'd been diagnosed with something for my whole life and that the treatment and care that I'd received was essentially a farce, and I'm where? Floating among Jupiter? Where do I go when I'm not focusing? What is this magical place that my brain wants to occupy? And why can't I go with it? Surely it's a fantastic place to be. I spend most of my life there. I just can't ever remember it. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough to go there. Maybe it's a place that only the brain is allowed to occupy and the rest of me is just the dumb shit Stardust meat Gundam that it has to drag along as a +1. The real kicker on top of this is that it turns out the ADHD doesn't go away like they told me it would. My brain is permanently wired like shit. It's never not going to be. I'm 30 now, and I found out that because of the cheapo fuck that did the wiring in my brain, I'm basically addicted to anger. It's my comfort emotion, the one I default to. Every time I reflect back on my younger years, I think of all the anger that I harbored, the rage and hatred that I channeled through myself constantly. It's so cozy. It shouldn't be, but it is. You know what the worst part is? Every time I think about that anger, that malignant poison that I keep inside and try to bury in a ditch out in the woods of my brain, I can picture it so clearly. It's like I'm there again, in each and every memory. I never floated away in those moments. I retained them better than I remember what I did today. Why can't I focus on the things that I don't want to think about, but I can't focus on a conversation with the people that I love? Where do I go when I'm not focused?